Hi there, students. Thread. A thread, a noun, both countable and uncountable. To thread as a verb. And I guess even threaded as an adjective, but not the easiest to use. Okay, so thread. If you want to sew something, you need a needle and thread. And this is thread. Yeah, it's a very long, thin piece of fiber that you use for sewing. Yeah, and this is the basic meaning of thread. Yeah, it's flexible, but notice it's very thin. String is thicker, is much thicker. You could just about sew with string, but it's going to be very ugly. But thread, this very fine cotton that you use to sew with, and that is a thread. Then we also use this word thread to talk about a theme or an idea that goes all of the way through something. So all of his stories have a common thread. Yeah, a common idea that runs through them. Or you could lose the thread of what you're saying. I've lost the thread of what I was saying. Where am I? Yeah, you see I'm going crazy. The sequence, it's the line of what you are doing. I'm sure you know this word, a thread, in internet. Yeah, a thread is somebody types a message or a comment, and then somebody comments to that comment, and there are more and more comments that come underneath, but they are all created from the original first message, and this is a thread. Yeah, so there's the first comment, and then all of the other messages are replies to the message, and that the initial one, and that is a thread. Okay, so a thread, it's effectively a line of messages or a line of comments. Yeah, it's something with a common idea to it. Let's see, a screw. You know this thing, you have a nail that you hammer and a screw that you turn. The inside bit, the bit that goes round and round on the end, the bit that grips and goes into the wood, that is the thread. Yeah, the thread of a screw. Or maybe you have a nut and a bolt and you thread the nut into the bolt. If you get the nut cross-threaded, it doesn't follow the thread, then you're going to have a terrible problem. Okay, so all of these are ideas for thread. You can have threads, plural. Yeah, meaning clothes is a very informal word for clothes, because effectively textiles or cloth is made of threads going up and across. Yeah, so do you like my new threads? But that's very informal, 3 out of 10. I guess you could have a thread, a long line of something. A thread of light shone through the curtain. There was a thread of sunshine that came through the clouds. Yeah, a book can have a thread, or a speech, or a discussion. Yeah, it's the way the different parts connect together. You've got a thread on internet, yeah, where people are talking about the same subject. You've got the thread on a screw, this raised line that goes into the hole, or on a bolt as well. Yeah, and then my natty threads, my beautiful new clothes. So notice as well, to thread as a verb. So I have a needle and I need to thread the needle. Nowadays my eyes are not good enough to thread a needle properly. Something I can do, but it takes me quite a long time. So to thread a needle. You could, if you've got beads, for example, things that with a little hole, you take a thread and you thread the beads through it. Yeah, or maybe olives threaded onto a cocktail stick. Yeah. To thread your way through something, to move, changing direction. So if you ride a motorbike, one of the advantages of riding a motorbike when there's heavy traffic is you can thread your way through the traffic. Yeah, I threaded my way through the crowd. Okay, so to thread your way between people or between objects. They also actually use this as a verb when you know that you can remove hair with a thread, with a long thin thread, by rubbing it on the surface. To thread. So to have your eyebrows threaded. Ouch, 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 ouch. Yeah. And well, let's see if I can think of any more. But okay, yeah, there's a loose thread. Yeah, if you have a piece of clothing and there's a loose thread and you pull it, maybe it just keeps pulling. Yeah. So a loose thread. Yeah. So the thread, connecting different thoughts together, to thread, to put something through the eye of a needle. It's the eye of a needle. So a long strand of cotton or nylon for sewing or for weaving. A long line. So yeah, fishing thread, for example. There were threads of silver or grey in his hair. No, there aren't any threads of anything but grey in mine nowadays. The main theme running through a situation, through a story. Yeah, you could lose your thread, your train of thought. Yeah. In computing, it's a structure with different links that are the separate elements of a subroutine. Good-looking threads, good-looking clothes. The thread of a screw or a nut. This is this helix that goes round the edge of it. Yeah. To thread a needle, to pass between different things. Yeah, he threaded it through the hole, even though it's not a thread. He threaded the rope through the pulley. To put something on a thread. Yeah, the cannibal had human skulls which had been threaded and put round his neck. So, to be hanging by a thread, if something's hanging by a thread, it's in a very dangerous, precarious situation. Yeah? Or to lose the thread. I lost the thread of what you're saying. I can't follow how this goes on. So, a lot of phrases. Thread, formality. I think all of these threads I would give a 5 in formality, use anywhere, except this word meaning threads closed, which I gave 3 earlier. As to origin, it comes from thraed in Old English, meaning thread. Yeah, which comes from a Germanic origin. Itself, it comes from Proto-Indo-European, ter, meaning to rub or to twist. And if you take fibres and rub them together, then you get a thread. So I hope you haven't lost the thread of all of these things I've been saying. Well, the thread is the word thread. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Thread.